And Mr. One of the things that you have also announced is this £2 cap on bus fares. Why doesn't it start till November 1st?
What we need to do is work with bus funding to make sure that their schedules are reliable, make sure they've got enough staff to drive their buses, and also make sure they've got the capacity for increased passengers. So that's why there's a slight delay. Also, a lot of people buy their bus tickets in advance through various weekly or monthly cards, so we need to make sure that they're not disadvantaged by any drop in prices. The £2 cap will give people the option that if they want to commute to work or they want to come into various areas on the Isle of Man for leisure activities, that they can do that in a much more affordable way. So, for instance, the trips in from Peel, which are currently £2.17 to Douglas, will go down to £2. The trips from Port Erin, which are £3.40, will go down to £2. It gives people an ability to reduce their overall costs, but carry on either commuting or coming in for leisure.
And what's the estimated cost on this?
At the moment, the DOI think it will be around about £170,000, but what we need to do is to see whether that increases the number of passengers, and then that will reduce the total cost. Also, we need to do some modelling to see if we can increase passenger numbers, what else we can do in the new year, slightly in a more imaginative way to further this, because certainly the drive to active transport and public transport has been something talked about for some time. Now we actually need to enable people to make that choice and hopefully save money so they've got more money in their pockets to spend in the local economy.
Just finally, you've also announced a support for this £100,000 fund which will be used for community projects. One of the things you said about that is towards the idea of perhaps warm spaces. What's the plan behind this?
We know that quite a few people who live on their own could be worried about meeting their energy bills and might be tempted to switch off their heating or perhaps not have cooked food. We want to give that security to them that their prices will be frozen in terms of electricity over the next 6 months. But also we want to work with the third sector to provide community events, to provide community activities, to actually make sure that these people aren't cold and alone, that they can perhaps go into a church hall, go into a library, anywhere where they can actually get some support, make sure that they're catered for. And what we'll be doing is over the next couple of months looking at various other imaginative ways we can do to support our community and allow those people to support others.
Just slightly change of tack here. Down in Jersey, where they have a new government, they came in and decided to hold a mini budget.
Yep.
Was that ever on the cards here, the idea of a mini budget?
We've looked at every possibility in terms of what we can do on the Isle of Man. I've challenged officers to see at this point whether we could start changing the entire benefit system or the taxation system. It will be very difficult at the moment because particularly with social security, they're going through transformational change to bring in a new IT system. So we have looked at it. We're confident that bringing in targeted benefits is probably the best use of public money to actually make sure that it goes to those people right when they need it. For instance, a 10% increase on child benefit might only give an extra 20-30 pence a week. What we're doing is putting hundreds of pounds in the pockets of those families to meet some of the increased bills that they'll be facing.
And just on that, did you look at things, for instance, raising minimum wage, for example? Is this one of the things that was considered and ruled out, or?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the minimum wage, it only affects a very small number of people on the island, and that's been decreasing gradually. We've recently published the living wage calculation, and there is that commitment to try to merge the two and increase median earnings for workers on the Isle of Man. We will do as much as possible to try to secure people's incomes by reducing costs, but also looking to the business sector also to look after their own employees, particularly at a time of staff shortages.
Just finally looking ahead, you've got what's been announced today. We're expecting further announcements towards December. But what else can we expect to see going into the winter, or is this sort of your lot?
This is the start. I mean, the long-term forecasts for both inflation and energy prices are so uncertain at the moment. It's very difficult to budget for 3 or 6 months ahead. What we need to do is take this by a step-by-step approach. We've tried to make the announcements today about universal benefits for people in terms of bus prices, in terms of the electricity cap on prices, in terms of looking at what happens in the UK about VAT and fuel duty and bringing that in immediately. But going forward, we will need to make sure that everyone's able to reduce their energy use, to reduce their cost of living and help as many people as possible, knowing that it's very difficult to help everyone on our island.
Is that the